long ago when I was in high school, secondary school, I had a Christmas sweater, a pullover. I think we might call them jumpers here. And I absolutely loved it. Why? I have no idea. And you won't either have any idea when I describe to you what it looked like. It was basically brown in color, but on the front there were depicted two moose facing one another, and they were pictured wearing their own Christmas jumpers, all red and green and filled with Christmas images. Objectively speaking, this creation was completely frightening. But for some reason, I loved it. And for me, it expressed my Christmas joy completely. So much so that I would continue to wear it all winter after the Christmas celebration was complete each year. I even kept that jumper long after I didn't dare to wear it anymore. It came to sum up so many years, so many Christmas times, so many memories. Why do I mention it tonight? Certainly not to ruin your Christmas as you try to picture it, perhaps to give you a smile, but principally because that jumper of mine eons ago can stand for all the ways we try as human beings to express the reality of this celebration each year. We use lights and trees. We use wreaths and music. We use parades. We use festive meals and reunions of families and friends. We use concerts. We use works of art. We use movies. We use church services like ours right now. We use the sending of cards and the ringing of phones and the sending of emails and so much more, including the wearing of Christmas jumpers of questionable style. And all of these are okay. All of these stretch out toward expressing the gift of this night. But none of them individually quite makes it. In fact, even all of those things together, repeated year after year over a lifetime, cannot actually reveal the full gift of Christmas, even at their best. Not quite. Why? It's because the full truth of Christmas is the birth of a person who is sent from God, of a person who is God. It's the birth of God human, who comes in love, who comes to express love completely, who comes to love unto death and beyond, who comes to share that love with us, to hand it over to us, to give us the invitation to live that love ourselves, to become that love ourselves, so that people who meet us experience that same love. How does that work? Well, one thing has to happen. Only one. I need to accept the gift of the love that is born at Bethlehem, to let that love embrace me and recreate me and transform me such that I become in my generation a revelation of that love. This means that this night is an invitation. It's an invitation to live. It's an invitation to realize that God does break into this world in unexpected places like tiny Judean towns, into the lives of ordinary people with no money and little else, and to realize that when God breaks into this world, there are things that only God can do. Year after year, on the 25th of December, we celebrate all this. We read the story, we sing the songs, and all through the years we're invited to allow the story to take root in our hearts, to allow the love burning in the newborn Jesus in the manger to burn away all our regrets, all our wrongdoing, all our limits, and to make us something new, something unexpected that perhaps might scare us a bit, that we might become, in our own place and time, a living image of the one born at Bethlehem tonight, and to release his love into this world of war and sorrow and need. So the question for you and me every Christmas is simple. Have I accepted the invitation of Christmas? Have I done the one thing? Have I let the love born at Bethlehem become the engine that energizes my life? Have I ever done that? Have you? The invitation is given again tonight. It's renewed every year. We have heard it in the words of Isaiah the prophet, in the letter of Titus, in the familiar story told by Luke the evangelist. So the invitation of this night hangs in the air as I speak now, like a question mark. Will we respond? Will we at last respond? Will we again respond? If you decide to say yes, it begins tonight, but only begins. Every Sunday of this coming year, Luke the evangelist will continue in the Sunday Gospels to share a living portrait of the deeds and words of the infant born tonight as he grows to maturity and speaks to the world. Luke will share with us the stories Jesus shared in his teaching of the Good Samaritan, that unexpected neighbor, of the prodigal son whose father's forgiving love is without boundary, of the lost sheep who will never stay lost as long as a loving shepherd can search. Luke will share Jesus' compassion for the poor, his healing of the broken, his forgiveness of any and all sin. Luke will tell the story of Jesus making all this more than words when he gives his own life up for the sake of those whom he loves. None of us have to be in church every week. Mother or grandfather had. You know, that one that is still in that family heirloom standing in the corridor. And we can read Jesus' love there in that gospel for ourselves. This night, the baby born this night, the ancient story continuing this night, the trick actually is not to leave Jesus here, which we're always tempted to do. Not to leave him in the manger. The trick is to be like the cousin of the Bishop of the Diocese of Texas, Andy Doyle. In his Christmas sermon in 2011, he told the story of his cousin Jeffrey as a child at the Christmas service in an Anglican church in Scotland. Over Jeffrey's mother's objections, because she knew her son well, Jeffrey was chosen to be one of the shepherds in the Christmas scene on Christmas Eve. He was looking extraordinarily bored and out of place when suddenly his mother from 6 rows back saw a gleam in Jeffrey's eye that she recognized. Something was happening. Jeffrey actually looked interested, and so his mother was panicked. Something was going to happen. And she was right. Suddenly, Jeffrey pushed back the children who were playing Mary and Joseph. He grabbed the baby Jesus out of the manger and ran out of the church into the night. Bishop Doyle invited his listeners that night to follow Jeffrey using these words, his words, which I gladly pass on this Christmas night to you and I. The bishop said then, "The incarnation of God, God becoming one of us, is best experienced outside of these walls, outside in the world around us. My cousin Jeffrey, what would it be like for us to grab the incarnation of God with glee in our eyes, stealing him away, taking God out with us into the night, taking God in our arms and holding God tightly and evading every call to leave him here where he is precious and safe?" He continued, "If we were to go out like the shepherds and Jeffrey, like countless generations before us, to leave the hallowness of this service to go and see the Christ child out in the daily world of our lives, in the lives of families and friends, of our workplaces, what would it be like if we took this joy and hope that we experienced this night, that we came here longing for, that we find, that we discover, and that we take it with us, with the confidence and assuredness, with the hope in the knowledge that God did not just choose people long ago, but that God chooses us, that God chooses you, that God favors you." My friends, Christmas blessings to you this night and all through the coming year and beyond. Hear the invitation again tonight. Take off the Christmas jumpers. Take down the Christmas lights. Don't answer the phone. And take Jesus with you as you leave here. Take him with you with joy and learn from him how to be love.